Well, salutations, Magic students. Hey, Doug Conn here, and we sell a lot of Svengali decks at Trick Supply in Las Vegas. I thought it might be nice to post kind of a learning resource here, explaining some of my preferred handling tips. I got some advanced stuff, some easy stuff. I'll show you my favorite routine with this Svengali deck, and while this video is not intended to be an expose of the secret, it is intended to share some expert advice from a professional who's been doing it a while. I see no reason to dilly-dally. Hey, let's get started now. Let's start here, and this is kind of an advanced concept, but it's helpful to know as when you first open a Svengali deck, it's common for all of the indifferent, the normal mixed cards to be at the face of the pack, and then the uppermost part of the deck is all of the Svengali cards, the shorter dupes, and so we need to get those cards alternating. Before I talk about that, I will mention starting this way has some advantages. You can casually spread through the deck to show the cards are indifferent. You can do a nice overhand shuffle run off the face of the pack. Just don't shuffle all the way and put the top cards back to the top. This maintains the situation. And it's also worth noting we can casually spread from the top of the deck for a selection, as opposed to doing the standard riffling action. With all of the Svengali cards at the top, we can just say, here, pick one. And those are a few advantages to starting with a pack in this condition. All right, so from this position, our goal will be to interlace the Svengali cards with the indifferent cards, and here's the advanced technique I'm talking about. I'm going to advocate the Faro Shuffle, F-A-R-O, sometimes called the butt weave. You essentially butt the cards together and interlace every card with every other card as you do so. It's important to start this shuffle with a squared pack. I tap the ends against each other. I'm using my fingers at the top to keep everything square. All the fingers brace all the ends of the pack. You want everything tightened together. And it's just a gentle weaving action. Just kind of work the corners in from the top downward. This will take some practice. It's not a gimme. It might take a couple weeks before you get good at this. But what this Faro Shuffle does is set you into the Svengali deck condition where every other card is the indifferent card interlaced with the Svengali card, and now we're off to the races. So understanding not everyone is interested in the Faro Shuffle, here's an easy technique to set a new Svengali deck, and this is called the Klondike Shuffle. Pulling a card off the face of the pack and one with your thumb on the top, fingertips off the face, thumb on top. Pull the cards in pairs until you've exhausted the deck. If you're going to do this in front of a live audience, try and make up something interesting to say as you do so. This is the scientific randomizer that shuffles the deck correctly, and I know this because I have no social life. Make a little joke, and that's the Klondike, which is an easy alternative to getting your Svengali deck set in position. As we're on the subject of shuffles, it's certainly worth noting that you can riffle shuffle your Svengali deck. That's an in-the-hands riffle shuffle. It also works to the table, and the Svengali principle stays true. The cards fall in pairs, the shorter cards with the indifferent cards. They shuffle two at a time. This leaves you in position to continue with your Svengali routine. And while we're on the subject of riffling the deck, let's talk about a few options for doing the riffle, as all too often I see beginners handle this deck very tightly with just like a portion of the deck clamped here and they're only showing a little bit of the top. I'm going to encourage the student to use a grip like this, where we present the full face of the deck to the audience. The short ends of the pack lie on the 3 fingers here, the thumb is at the top, and the forefinger is curled at the back. A little bit of pressure here. Now I can present the whole face of the cards to the audience as they fall off the thumb into the awaiting hand one at a time. And this is just a nicer way to display the cards as opposed to doing, something like that. Of course, it works the other way. If you want to change them all the same, cut a short card to the face. There's the grip, riffle them backs out, and now we have the transformation into the Svengali card. An alternative to the riffle is the dribble, dropping cards from one hand into the other. The grip is similar with the thumb on the short end, fingers on the other short ends, 4 fingers pushing on top, a little light pressure. And then the cards will escape in pairs off the fingertips and thumb into the cupped awaiting hands. This is the dribble, and this is a nice procedure. You can just have someone say stop as you drop cards from one to the other. They'll always get this Svengali card, or if you want to make it appear like they all change to the same, you can do that with this as well. Now, if you get good at the dribble, you can also do this. Dribble the cards to the table in essentially a ribbon spread action. Those are all pairs. That means when I turn the ribbon spread over, all the indifferent cards show. It's quite disarming. This also works in this fashion. If I ribbon spread the cards to the table and ask my spectator to just touch the top of any card, they will indeed always get a forced card this way, and this is a casual way to have a card selected. All right, so just a couple more handling tips and I'll show you my favorite routine with the Svengali deck. And this is cutting the deck by the short ends. I've got my thumb at the inner side, fingers at the outer end, and I'm lifting from the top and cutting to the bottom. What this will do is always place a Svengali or a force card at the top of the pack. Because they're shorter, your fingers can't get into contact them, so they will always be at the top. That's it. And now this cutting procedure sets us up for one of the most disarming moves in all of card magic, and this is the double lift that allows for an apparent transformation of the top card into your Svengali card. This is a typical sleight of hand move that takes a while to learn with practice, but the Svengali deck makes it easy because the card is shorter on top. When you try to lift the top card by the ends, you will automatically get 2. It just works by itself. You just pick up by the ends. Note that the Svengali card is a little bit shorter. It has a tendency to flare if you don't do this. When you lift the top 2, just give them a little bit of a bend, kind of a concave bend. That'll keep everything square. And you show those 2 as 1. Put the 2 cards on top of the deck, do your hocus pocus, deal the top single card off, and then you can show the transformation. This is the double lift with the Svengali deck, and let me tell you, it is a killer. All right, so let's combine all of these actions into a little routine, and it starts with a selected card. But before you pick a card, I'm gonna pick a card, and my card will be the 10 of hearts. I'm just placing it under the card box. Here, you can say stop anywhere as I dribble through the pack. Your spectator says stop, and you say, okay, remember the card. Here is the magic move. Watch close. That's the move. Do you know what it does? It hurts my finger. Ow. It also, gotta get the jokes in, it also makes the card jump. But not your card, that's my card that was under the box. And under the box where my card was, that should be your 3 of clubs. And that's my favorite trick with the Svengali deck. So you can see how all of these ideas work together. We can riffle shuffle the deck, maintaining the condition of our Svengali pack. Riffling the deck towards the audience allows them to see it's all an indifferent pack of cards. Cutting the deck by the ends brings the short card to the top so that I can do a double lift, displaying the apparent deuce of diamonds, which I supposedly put under the card box. Dribbling the cards allows the spectator to say stop for an apparent free selection. They'll get the forced card. Do your presentation, that's the most important part. Ow, it hurts. Show the transformation or the transposition as the case might be. The card you placed under the box is now in your hand, and now under the box is the card they picked. And that, indeed, is my fave with the Svengali deck. And one last bit of advice, if you're opting to transform the deck into all of the same card, I would suggest exercising a little caution and maybe even restraint, as yes, this is a powerful moment to see the deck all change to the same one, but it's also giving up the fact that you're using a trick deck, and now you can't repeat the trick. So maybe my last bit of advice is to buy a second deck with a different Svengali card, then you can do it more than once. You can consider that option, and I'll wait for you at tricksupply.com.